The Torah in Devarim says, do not hate the Edomite. Why? For he is your brother. And as well many other places in Torah where it uses the verbiage as brother. So why specifically this concept of brother? And what's Torah trying to teach us on a deeper level? What are we actually looking at here? What's the issue Torah is coming to resolve, or the lesson Torah is coming to teach us? It would seem to me, or let me start over. I think the easiest way to see it is through an example. I have a lot of friends, and not all of them necessarily are Chabad. And they have their gripes with Chabad. Chief amongst them being, why doesn't Chabad sleep in the sukkah? This is a big, big problem. They don't sleep in the sukkah. As well as other little things. They spit by Aleinu, it's gross. Other, they took away at the end of benching the last little part. I forget exactly what it is, but and that's the big problem with Chabad. And all of these arguments are mamish petty. Sleeping in the sukkah, 95% of people don't sleep. I don't know about 95%, I don't want to, but I would say the large majority of non-Chabads also don't sleep in the sukkah either. Many, many people do not sleep in the sukkah, regardless of all the answers given. We took away the last little part of davening for benching. From the get-go, only, it's at the end of Uvenei is already the end of the Dairaisa benching, and the rest is Darabanan from there on out. But as well, there's always different nusachim in davening. Like, there's a different nusach for all types of davening. Everybody, there's parts which Sfaradim say, which Ashkenazim don't. There's parts Ashkenazim say, which Sfaradim don't, and vice versa. We all have different nusachim in many different parts of Torah. Many different sects in Judaism. If I may, I think what Torah is trying to teach us is, and specifically, let me recap. The reason, another question also, why does the Torah use the Edomite as an example of for he is your brother? Edomite were Esav. Esav was one of the worst people in the whole of Torah. Amalek comes from him, Edom comes from him, Rome comes from him, all the Torahs, and there we're going to say, oh, he's your brother. So I think here's the point, here's what Torah is trying to teach us. You could approach this person, and you can look at him in two ways. Number one, he's a stranger. He's a stranger, everything he does is bad. Everything about him is wrong. Doesn't he? You nitpick at him, You paint him in a light as, quote, the other. And when you have that mindset, doesn't make a difference what they're doing wrong. It's anything they do wrong, you see, they did something wrong. It's an extremely toxic, negative ideology in terms of how you approach somebody. Why? Because they don't belong there in the first place. You see? They have no right to be there. What Torah is trying to teach us, and specifically by the Edomite, even a Russia like Esav, he's still your brother. Who is your brother? Your brother is somebody who belongs. Somebody who deserves to be there. Somebody who's supposed to be there. Somebody who, literally by happenstance is there. Why? You got born into the same family. And when you approach your brother, you always have to see your brother in the correct light. Something a little wrong. No, he's your brother, Do you badmouth your brother to everybody you see? Guess what my brother did? He spat by Aleinu. All of these little nonsenses are irrelevant. Why? Because we're brothers. And this is Torah's point. This is what Torah is trying to teach us. Just stop nitpicking at each other and stop, look, this little thing. We're brothers. We have to love each other. A story from the Rebbe on this point precisely. A shliach went out to New Jersey. Don't remember which town in New Jersey, but one of the towns in New Jersey. Either Deal or Lakewood or something. And there was one person, he was an Erlich of Besnagid, and Pashut, he protested him from day one. Made merchaz against him, stood outside the shul, says that he's coming to corrupt the community. Every argument against Chabad, 5 years in, or a long time in, the rabbi would give a shir every morning in Tanya before davening. In walks this guy and goes to sit in the back of the shul. The rabbi was totally caught off guard, didn't know what to do. Should he stop? Should he address it? Should he tell him to leave? The rabbi decided, you know what? I'll keep quiet and we'll see how this plays out. So he sits in the back of the shul, he listens to the Tanya, he davens with the minyan. At the end of davening, the rabbi walks up to him, says Shalom Aleichem, and says, let me ask you, you came here, you learnt with us, you davened with us, you're not our biggest fan, what's going on? So he said, my son came home from school yesterday, and he said he was talking to your son. There was only one cheder in town, it wasn't a big town at the time. And your son told me, my son said to your son, my father hates your Rebbe. And your son responded to my son, that's okay, because my Rebbe loves your father. He said that somebody could have this kind of Ahavas Yisrael, that you could teach a little child, a child. I mean, they weren't in kindergarten, but they certainly weren't bar mitzvah, and they weren't, just elementary school. That he could understand and appreciate Ahavas Yisrael to such a deep level that his own, at that young age, he said, maybe I've summed up Lubavitch all wrong. So, yeah, I guess point and moral of the story is always judge everybody favorably, especially a Yid. If even, by an Edomite it says, so how much more so by a Yid. Everybody have a wonderful day.